Hello and welcome. It's Liz from West Star Tarot. So I thought today I would show the decks that I'm going to work with for spring. One of the ways I like to make sure that I cycle through different decks is to pull decks out each season. And some of these that I've pulled out for spring, well, all of them, I guess, just sort of have a springy feeling to me. And a couple of them are somewhat new. And so I want to, get to know them and use them anyway. And they both happen to have kind of spring-like color palettes. So anyway, let me get started without any further ado. So the first one that has kind of a springy palette and that I would like to, that I plan on using for spring is this one, which is Wisdom. And this is artwork by Danielle Barlow, and the deck itself was created by Phyllis Curott, and the guidebook. So for those of you who are familiar, I guess I should say for those of you who are not familiar with this deck, Phyllis reordered the majors and did a complete, the Fool is now the Pilgrim, and the other majors are in reverse. So the Magician is last and the World is first. But this just has a spring-like feeling to it, especially the Suit of Swords. And I do think of spring as air, as the air element. And so that kind of works for me. Alrighty, so that's the Witch's Wisdom. Next up is sort of an old standby that I, ever since I've had it, so maybe a couple years now, I pull out in spring. And it's the Tarot of Mystical Moments by Katrine Weltstein. And she's a fairly well-known artist. And her art is really rather whimsical. So it's one of those shiny, shiny decks. But I feel like it's got a really springy, trying to find a place where we're not getting reflection. Here we go. It just feels springy to me. And the whimsy of it brings on a feeling. There's lots of cards that have tulips. And I do think of tulips as a spring flower. And just, it's kind of, like I said, whimsical, and there are a lot of flowers in it. And it just looks like people are sort of feeling unfettered after a long winter. So that is a deck that I often pull out, or usually pull out at spring. And then the next one is fairly new, and it is the Raven's Dream Tarot by MJ Cullinane. And you might not think of it as springy, but I don't know, there's something about it. Well, hey, look at those daffodils. That's pretty springy. And I just have to say, MJ, wow, thanks for changing your cardstock. This cardstock is great. Her former cardstock was so slippery, you would put the deck in a pile, and even without touching it on a straight surface, it would just sort of tip over and slide off. I love this cardstock. It's great to work with. It's matte. You can really see the images. So I get a real spring vibe from this one. The animals and the flowers and the woods coming alive again after a long winter's night. And here we have, this is brand new to me, This is Gay Marseille by Charlie Claire Burgess. And this is, in fact, a Marseille style deck. And I've been wanting to do some work with Marseille. I spoke about it in the fall, and guess what? I still haven't done the work. But for me, this palette, this color palette is really, really springy. And different from the standard Tarot de Marseille. There's just some, I just get this real sense of spring from the colors in this deck. I'm just showing the majors. It's still in order because I have not used it. It came while I was away. So it's just been sitting here waiting for my return. And I'm kind of getting things organized before I dive into, new decks. I love that. And I love this. I don't know if you can see it, but right here on La Maison Dieu, the House of God or the Tower, is Stonewall. And I do feel like Stonewall was a tower moment, for sure. Changed a lot. Was the beginning of a new way of looking at things. And there are 2 world cards. So Charlie Claire Burgess also did the 5th Spirit Tarot, which is has become one of my favorite tarot decks. It is just, nothing really reads the way that does. It just is like really a great reader. So those are the tarot. Next up are, I have a couple of oracles. So of course I had to include a plant oracle. So here we have the Soulflower Plant Spirit Oracle deck by Lisa Estabrook. So I just pulled out the plants that to me are most springy, and at least for where I live. These are, when I say spring, I guess I should define it from the end of March to the end of June, or the 20th of March to the 20th of June. Those are the spring months. Nettle is popping up right now around me, as are daffodils and pansies. So this deck and crocuses, this deck and chickweed, and soon I go on, there's a couple places where I go on woodlands walks, and in mid to end of May into the beginning of June, I will be treated by this beautiful being, Lady Slipper. Forget-me-not, and I have hellebore blooming right now in my garden. So that is Plant Spirit Oracle. Next up is a deck that is one of my favorite oracles, and I haven't used it in a really long time. So I'm really glad to be pulling this one out right now. And this is Morning Calm by Sayo Kelleher. I love this deck. It is so beautiful. I'm going to do it this way. So lead with joy, transformation. And, I love the idea of butterflies for this time of year. I haven't seen any quite yet, but soon they will. And soon we will see hummingbirds. This is a real springy feeling to me because I'm not sure if this is cherry blossoms, supposed to be cherry blossoms, I think, or crabapple, but this is something that will be blooming around me really soon. Kuan Yin. Again, just has kind of this springy feeling to it, and the colors. This one is Ancestors. Mountain Spirit. Divine Love. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck. Play Your Music. Inner Child. I do think of inner child work as kind of a springtime thing. Talisman, sisterhood, integrity. Love that one. And boundaries. So I get a real springy feel from that card too. And then last but not least is the Avalonian Oracle. And this is also another shiny, this is a shiffer deck, and you know how they are with their shininess. This is Spiritual Wisdom from the Holy Isle, so it's got that Avalon theme to it. And this is illustrated by Emily Bruner and created by Jenna Tellendrew. I love this oracle. It's really, really something. Oh, see how shiny these shiffer decks are? Oh, boy. Just really, this has a really lovely, fresh spring feeling. And it's got one of the suits, I guess you could call it, is different herbs. And, of course, things are really popping up now. And again, I just get this sense of new beginnings and starting afresh, and the animals are waking up and the plants are starting to pop up, and we're ready to leave hibernation and go outside in our gardens. And yeah, so those are decks I will be using in spring. I'll be using other decks too. These aren't the only decks that I'll be using over the next 3 months. But I want to make a point of pulling these decks out and maybe do some seasonal, readings with them. Like, what do I need to start anew, or how can I refresh my my regime, and so forth and so on. So thanks for watching. Happy spring to you all. And drop a comment below and tell me what decks you'll be using for spring. Peace and love, everyone.